Hi, everybody. My name is Billy. I am the entrepreneur in residence at 1KX right now, but working on making that transition to entrepreneur. This is the first game from a new project called Trifle Labs. And it all actually began sometime last summer. I joined the Trust Game Jam with Mud 2 and then went to the Autonomous Worlds Retreat in London last year and got Liron to sit me down and sort of do a quick explainer on how you write ZK snarks, because I am quite dissatisfied with the status of on-chain games today, as I assume many of you all are here as well, and what we're all sort of trying to improve. And one of the things that I hate most is relying on the block production time as the state update function for games. And so I'm a big fan of this other category of making on-chain games, which involve verifiable computation. So if you go through the arduous, terrible, awful, fun experience of writing an entire game in a SIRCOM ZK circuit, you're able to actually prove that a game was played off-chain, but create that proof on-chain. So you're basically able to start with a world, starting conditions, do whatever you want it, and no longer restricted by that block production time, which people are pushing down to things like 1 second. That's really amazing. But instead choose your own sort of arbitrary state update function and frame rate. So I'm using a frame rate of 50 frames per second, which means that my game has meaningful interactions at the 20 millisecond threshold. And I would like to show what that sort of threshold looks like with the first project. So slight more context. The first sort of idea that I wanted to see happen in this world is to be able to actually have physics on chain. Newtonian physics with gravity is such a sort of common element of so many games, collisions, etc. But it's so difficult when you're working in such a restrained computational environment. So I took on the challenge of writing the three-body problem as a ZK circuit and using that as a digital physics engine to build games inside of. So the first one is called Anybody Problem. And here's just a quick view of what the sort of simulation looks like. You can see our bodies are running around. They are enforcing gravitational pull on each other, and you're given a small missile launcher in order to fire them and satisfy them. So what's actually happening here is an entire game, though. How do I change tabs? I'm locked into a browser or something. What's going on? How do I get out of full screen? Thank you, thank you. Cool. So we created Anybody Problem as Trifle Labs. And Anybody Problem uses this on-chain physics to simulate a resource management game and a missile firing game. So it's a ZK Snark on-chain collectibles game created in 2024. These are NFTs called problems. And if I were to open up a problem, I can show you how you begin by solving it. So you solve it by feeding these small little nebulae atoms. This is an atom collider, and this is, of course, the easiest level. This is the first one. Once the cute little nebulae receive their missiles, you're able to, oh God, I'm actually trying to win a game in real time. I'm so bad at this. Is it on? Jesus. Finally, finally, finally. So with this score, you start validating the actual gameplay over here, and you win an award of 4 dust. Now, this problem only has 3 bodies right now, but of course, once you earn more dust, you can start adding more bodies to it. So if I were to add a 4th body, I would create a much harder simulation. These bodies can go all the way up into 10 in the world. So you play it, and if you're able to eliminate all 3, or really what you're doing is you're charging them with particles, you are able to earn more dust. With more dust, you can get more bodies, and therefore I play harder and harder levels. Submitting these games on chain, though, requires a ZK validation process, and that is what I'm most interested in seeing people potentially building with. The composability during this hackathon game project, you have sort of 2 modes, easy mode and hard mode. The easy mode is the sort of economic exchange, what sort of makes a world real. Often it's the skin in the game aspect. It's just having real money, real value. And because, of course, we work with standards like ERC20, your value might be in the form of bugs, might be in the form of dust, but it's really easy to sort of loop into those. ERC721s are also really common interfaces. So just having sort of economic ties between games is, I think, the easy mode, but still there's a lot of room to do interesting things, whether it's gambling your bugs or just investing across. But then there's the hard mode, and this is the digital physics section. And this is where I would really love to see somebody take the on-chain physics verification system that anybody uses and use it for something else, because the world has a commonality inside of the way physics work. You can use the same rules of physics for your own game, for your own system, but because they have a commonality, we're able to sort of compound the value. And there's always sort of value in building on the same stack, increasing its capabilities. So I came up with a couple ideas of what you could do with using the exact same digital physics system that we have deployed. You can use the same proving system and then write your own game logic around it. First one is body golfing. So you could pick a spot in the universe marked as the golf hole and run the simulation until a body falls into it. Or you can make a competition that ends in a finite amount of time, and whoever's closest to that hole is the winner. You could do a global tournament, just create a common starting condition for a world and allow everyone to play the same game, because currently you each have your own worlds and you play them independently. Whoever beats it in the shortest time wins or avoids elimination. You can run that as rounds again until only one player is left. You could do prediction gambling. So guess a spot in the future of a universe where you think the body will end up. Run the universe and pick who's closest as the winner. Or even a proof of work, proof of autonomous world system. So you could start with one universe and choose an arbitrary amount of time to pass. Whoever pushes the universe forward that amount of time wins a reward and a new token. So the time that they took changes how long until the next proof should cover, just like a proof of work adjusts on the difficulty, and keep the universe moving forward by a collective effort through a token reward system, because these ZK proofs sort of pushing the universe forward is really just a verifiable delay function. So this stuff is very nascent. It's available right now at anybody.trifle.life. There's a password, which is NP for no problem. But mostly you're going to want to look at the GitHub, which is Trifle Labs. So installing Anybody package will allow you to run the simulations in your own game. I'm here all week with Everett as well down front in case you need help, but you can also write us on Telegram. We have OK with me and Idiot's Delight, and Twitter at Trifle Labs. So this is the first time anybody's looked at this game. It's very rough, it's very early, but there's some building blocks here that I think really open up a large possibility space. Thanks very much.